Okay, this is the last section of the chapter. We're including this. We're going to be testing over 6.1, 6.2, and 6.6 because 6.6 talks about independent assortment and crossing over, which we've already talked about, which occurs in prophase 1. And this is what allows each of us to be totally individual human beings. All right, as you look at this picture of a bunch of people in a crowd watching probably a sporting event, you will notice many things. You will notice that none of them look identical to one another. They have different hair type, they have different skin color, they have some are boys, some are girls, some have freckles, so they're all a little bit different. And this is what we've been talking about. So sexual reproduction is how we're going to get new combinations of genes. So in this case, when a sperm and an egg come together, we know from meiosis that each ovum and each sperm are individually different. They are not the same. And this is due to two things. It's due to independent assortment of the chromosomes, and we'll talk more about this, but basically it is when they are lining up along the metaphase plate, it's a random assortment as to how they line up. And obviously, depending on which sperm makes it to the egg and actually is able to fertilize the egg, it's totally random. So what happens here is we have an opportunity to have different phenotypes. What is a phenotype? A phenotype is what an organism looks like due to their unique genetic makeup. So you might be taller, you might be shorter, you might have curly hair, you might have straight hair. So there's all different types of phenotypes that exist in our human population. So earlier in section 2, we talked about crossing over, and we talked about how this occurs during prophase 1. And this is when our homologous chromosomes line up, and they are going to possibly, not always, exchange genetic information. And they will cross the segments of the chromatid, and they will break off and they will reattach to the other homologous chromosome. And now we can see that our resulting chromosomes are not how they initially started out to be. So as we mentioned earlier, throughout this school year, chromosomes individually contain many different genes, and they are located in a specific area on the chromosome. The closer together they are, the more chance that they will be inherited together. The farther apart they are, the less likely they would be inherited together. So if we look at the picture below, we have the chromosome, and we have gene A and gene B, and gene C and gene D. So most likely, since A and B are close together, those two would be inherited together when the chromosomes cross over. The same thing for genes C and D. Those would probably be linked genes as well. And so the new definition for this section is called genetic linkage. And it allows the distance between the two genes to be calculated. And scientists can do this. They already know the physical distance between two genes. They have all this information. And this allows certain characteristics to be inherited together, such as maybe red hair and freckles, or brown hair and freckles, and things like that.